time for Coach's Corner on KCCR AM 1240 and 98.9 FM. Coach's Corner, live from the Long Branch, is brought to you by Kruger Contracting, Avera St. Mary's, Bank West, Fording Electric, and Gales Gas. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Oahe Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. And now, live from the Long Branch in downtown Pierre, it's award-winning KCCR Sports Director, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you here to the Long Branch for another edition of Coach's Corner, as we will talk with head coach of the Hawaii Capital, Steve Steele, here in just a little bit. We'll also talk with Brianna Kusler of the Pierre boys basketball team. We'll talk with Max Foth as well for Stanley County Buffaloes after they finish up their really busy week on Saturday over the past weekend, finishing up on Monday. And we'll also talk with Sean Lewis of the Pierre Boys Wrestling, who the Pierre Governor Wrestling program is in the midst of a busy week with a lot of duels. We'll talk with all those coaches here coming up this evening here at the Long Branch, and we'll talk with Coach Steve Steele next. You're listening to Coach's Corner live here at the Long Branch on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
DT and Dale here for the Long Branch in downtown Pierre. You know, the LB is a great place to kick back, relax, and unwind.
It has been for years, and it has a fantastic menu for lunch or dinner. Love that variety.
Yeah, good point. But we would be remiss if we didn't tell you about the best wings in town.
Tuesdays at the LB, try the delicious wings. And the more you buy, the more you save. The LB, the Long Branch in downtown Pierre. Now the home of KCCR's Coach's Corner, Wednesday evenings.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
As long as you have a local cooperative, you'll never farm alone. At CHS Midwest Cooperative, our team is your team, ready to help you make the decisions that are vital to your operation. From the seed, plant health, and marketing the grain, to fuel to keep you running, the feed to supplement your herds, and the financing programs to make it all possible. We're here for you. Give CHS Midwest Cooperative a call today and let us show you the value of the co-op. Local, loyal, and trusted for generations.
Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre still wants your trade or your spare vehicle, and we're willing to give you top dollar. And we'll throw in an additional $250 Pierre Pride dollars. Sell us your car, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you an additional $250 Pierre Pride dollars. Trade in your vehicle for a new or different one, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you $250 Pierre Pride dollars. Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit GatewayFordToyota.com.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Oahe Federal Credit Union member? At Oahe Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Oahe Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Oahe Federal Credit Union.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here live to the Long Branch, as we're joined with Coach Steve Steele of the Hawaii Capitals, as did not get to talk last week, but you guys had the weekend off. So you are back to action and a really important weekend. We'll jump right into it here because you have a really important and a big weekend because of what happened last weekend. The Rushmore Thunder and Brookings Rangers played, and the Rushmore Thunder won both games. So they're the only undefeated team left in the state of South Dakota. You guys were up 3-0 on them, end up losing that game on the road. So you've already felt like you owe them one, and now you have an opportunity to knock them off as being the last undefeated team in the state.
Yeah, I mean, and they're really rolling right now. I mean, they're playing really, really good hockey. I mean, and that's they're always a tough team. That's just a program that they've year in and year out been just a relentless force. They've got depth all over the place. They really skate teams and just wear them down by the end of the game. And that's kind of what happened to us. I mean, we started really fast on them and just kind of slowly they took over. And, that's going to be a big focus this week is, finding ways to stymie that momentum and try and slow things down just a little bit because that relentless pace is tough for a lot of teams to keep up with, especially when most teams don't have the depth, that they do. I mean, I think we're a very deep team, but they've got still more depth and more depth that can just continually move and move and move and move.
Yeah, and for the Rushmore Thunder, you probably got a chance to watch and break down that game or both games because Rushmore, besides playing you guys, played everybody twice in a weekend. But so Brookings went and played twice and lost in overtime and then lost in regulation, in Rapid City. What did you see that Rushmore did so well, and maybe because for a while it looks like Brookings wasn't going to lose any games. It was going to be their state championship to lose all the way through the end of the season. They look a little human last weekend. What did Rushmore do so well? What did Brookings maybe not do so well?
Well, the big thing that Rushmore didn't do a whole bunch of was make some mistakes. That's kind of what cost us in our two games against Brookings, just kind of comparing the apples to apples there. I mean, we made a couple mistakes that Brookings really capitalized on and ultimately won them the game. And Rushmore didn't do that, and I think the other thing that they did is they methodically wore Brookings down. They consistently won control of the puck. They consistently tried to play it in Brookings' end, and it wasn't not necessarily a huge puck possession thing, but just it's almost like relentless chaos, where they just continue to move the puck around and, they're throwing it into this corner, then they get there and send it around to the other corner, and you're just kind of, find yourself chasing your own tail there for a little bit if you're Brookings, and, that's a pretty intimidating thing to watch and see because, not many teams can do that to Brookings.
Yeah, and that is something now as you guys get ready for this game. Is there anything that maybe changed for you game planning for the Rushmore Thunder after watching that weekend?
Yeah, they are going to be at full strength this weekend as far as we know. They've got a couple guys coming back that weren't there when we played them the first time. But, other than that, I mean, they still have their same identity for the most part. The biggest thing is that I think that, that pace, you saw that we weren't quite able to keep the periods. So, finding ways to kind of slow the game down a little bit is going to be huge for us, because if we can play a really, really quick, fast, quick-paced game like that, I think that just favors them. It's not that we can't do it. I just don't know that we can do it quite as good as they can, where I think if we can slow the game down and play the game in smaller sections instead of the big, end-to-end races, I think that's where we can beat them.
The last couple of years when you played maybe on Saturday against a Rushmore team and then Sunday you play Aberdeen, the last couple of years it wasn't meaning as much as what it does this year. Aberdeen is I wouldn't say that they're surprising to you, but I think they probably surprised overall in the league. They're one of the better teams here and in the state, and maybe for some surprising, for others it's that it kind of expected. But Aberdeen got a point, and they won 3 out of the first 4. The only loss was to you guys in overtime, but got points in 4 straight. They went on a stretch of losing 3 in a row, got that win last weekend to now be at this point. But it's a big game against Aberdeen. It's not a Rushmore. You got to be all ready for Rushmore, and then can kind of just roll over Aberdeen like you could in years past. This is a different team, and this is a 2 games really big weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you could almost argue that the Aberdeen is the bigger game this weekend. Just in the sense that Rushmore is at the top. I mean, obviously that's a game you want to win, but when we've kind of talked in the past, teams that are in front of you are fun ones to steal. Because those are points you're not supposed to get when you play the teams, with you or behind you. Those are the ones you got to have. And, that's where Aberdeen's at right now. And, the thing is they could say the very same thing for the most part, that they don't have a loss against someone behind them. They've taken care of the business so far that they were supposed to take care of. And, they've lost a couple of those games against the teams above them. So, they're playing really good hockey. I don't think that's very surprising. They're really starting to get things turned around up there. They've got a lot of talent. I think they're a very deep team. Just in the sense that there's not a huge drop-off, from the top of their roster to the bottom of the guys they're playing. And their goalie's a young kid that's been absolutely outstanding for them. They're the Hunstad kid in net.
Yeah, and that you guys know it with watching the two goalies the last couple of years, and prior to that, even Kieran Duffy's been a starter for you for 3 now in his 3rd year. It's big to have good goaltending. Depending on where you're at, sometimes you're going, well, we got a good team, we just got to find a goalie. Sometimes you got a good goalie, you got to find a good team in front of you. You guys have been able to have both, and I think Aberdeen's now seeing that fruition with a really good goalie that's helping out big time back there.
Yeah, and I think that the reason I don't feel they're very surprising this year, other than obviously their standings, they've moved up a bunch. But the reason I don't think that is surprising is because of the goaltending. I thought last year they were still a fairly deep team. I think they've added a couple young guys from Bantams that were very good players this year. But, they were a very deep team last year. They could score some goals, but they were missing that crucial piece on the back end. If you're having to score 6 and 7 goals a game to win, realistically, you're just not going to win those games, against the good teams. Where this year, now they're not having to score 6 and 7. Now they're having to score 3 and 4, and they definitely have the players that make them capable of do that.
A big weekend, but you're at home again. You had the full weekend off after playing the last weekend against Brookings and Mitchell. This past weekend we're off, and now this coming weekend you get Rushmore and Aberdeen. It's a 6 o'clock start on Saturday, 4 o'clock on Sunday. Both games will be available to listen and watch on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. How was that last weekend? Being able to, whether you took a couple of days off or not, or got guys on the ice on Saturday and Sunday, how good was that weekend to have that break?
Oh, that was phenomenal. That was we were just laughing, my wife and I, just like, man, this feels awesome to do nothing for a couple days and just kind of relax and sit around. And, just a feeling you don't really get that a whole lot, when you coach. But, it was a really good weekend. A lot of our guys made it over. We had the Squirt tournament, the Tyler Wilcox tournament in town, so they got around to go check that out. It was a really good weekend, to kind of just sit back, relax, get off the feet. For the kids, especially ahead of this, we're at the halfway point now, so it's, everything's going to be intensified as we make for that playoff push, and, every seed point's going to matter.
Talking with Coach Steve Steele, the Y Capitals, and Coach, before I let you go, 4 big points are looming here this weekend, and obviously you want to get all 4. There's no question you want all 4, but how do you get at least 3 of those 4 points, if not all 4?
We'd have to get one on Rushmore if we're going to get 3. So, we've really got to focus on slowing the game down this weekend against Rushmore. We can't let them start getting ahead of us with that pace. And then, when we get to Aberdeen, win, lose, draw, Saturday is going to be a really high-flying, emotional game. We've got to be able to put that past us, whatever happens. If we win, we've got to come down back to earth, get ready to go after another hard one on Sunday. If we lose, we got to put that behind us and come back ready to go Sunday, because Sunday is going to be a really, really good hockey game too.
Yeah, 2 big games. It's going to be a fun weekend at the Expo Center. Of course, you can listen to the games on Capital City Rock. You can watch them on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. It'll be on the air 5:40 on Saturday, around 5:40 on Saturday, and 3:40 on Sunday. As the Rushmore Thunder, the only undefeated team left in hockey in South Dakota, will be in town on Saturday, and then the Aberdeen Cougars will be in town on Sunday, and we'll have both of them from the Expo Center. Coach, always good talking to you. Good to talk to you again this week, and good luck this weekend. And we'll talk in the pregame show, but good luck this weekend.
Thanks, John.
As head coach Steve Steele of the UI Capitals, we will return and talk with the head coach of the Pierre Boys basketball team, and that will be Brianna Kusler. You're listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
For an excellent choice to meet, greet, or eat, be sure to head to Downtown Pier and the Long Branch. The Long Branch has plenty of room for the big groups, cozy spots for that intimate setting, and you're going to love the selections and variety on their menu. Plus, their specials are sure to please. There's a fantastic variety of libations available, and it's a great place to unwind. Now, home of KCCR Coach's Corner Wednesday nights, come on down to the LB. The Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street, downtown Pier.
This winter, sip on a delicious hot cocoa and lose yourself in the grace of a fresh falling snow before you smash that hot mug on the driveway and join First Dakota to bank some noise for winter sports. Stomp for block shots, holler for match-sealing takedowns, and go berserk for a perfect dismount. Let's give the home team all we've got. Bank some noise with us at First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakota.com, member FDIC.
Looking for your next new or used car, truck, or SUV? Then go no further than the comfort of your own home. Shop online at lambmotor.com. On lambmotor.com, you'll find the vehicles Lambs has in stock. You can schedule a test drive or your vehicle's next tune-up, all online. New or used, shop for it all online, anywhere you are. Lamb Motor has the right vehicle for you. Lamb Motor in Oneida and online, lambmotor.com.
As long as you have a local cooperative, you'll never farm alone. At CHS Midwest Cooperative, our team is your team, ready to help you make the decisions that are vital to your operation. From the seed, plant health, and marketing the grain, to fuel to keep you running, the feed to supplement your herds, and the financing programs to make it all possible. We're here for you. Give CHS Midwest Cooperative a call today and let us show you the value of the co-op. Local, loyal, and trusted for generations.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Wagner Auto Company is your complete transportation headquarters. You'll find a great selection of quality new Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep vehicles, plus a great selection of quality pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles. They'll take good care of you after the sale with a full-service parts and body shop, along with a friendly financing team that'll do their best to get you into your next new or pre-owned vehicle with financing that fits your budget. Wagner Auto is your local, family-owned, full-service dealership in Pierre. WagnerAuto.com. That's WagnerAuto.com.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here to Coach's Corner live at the Long Branch, joining me is Coach Brianna Kusler of the Pierre basketball team. As coach, you get a chance to play tomorrow after having a full weekend off, and you and I kind of talked about it a little bit last week that it was a normal weekend for him to have off. There was no Christmas or New Year's break in there. It was just having a Saturday and Sunday off, a Friday night, Saturday and Sunday off. So how was that weekend for you guys to get and have a little extra time, but a normal extra time off?
It was very necessary. We go off of Christmas break, like we said, weekends where, yes, you had time off as far as some practices go, but really a chaotic season for people as far as Christmases and New Year's and all the activities and the festivities that come along with that. So for us to then we went and played the next weekend, and we were on a 4 games in 7 days, and so it felt good for us we practiced on Friday, had a couple days, then they didn't have school on Monday. That was kind of nice for them to be able just to have basketball only and be a kid as well, and then get back the last couple of days back into the routine of school and practice, and then be able to play a couple games this week. It certainly was a necessary time to rejuvenate and kind of refocus ourselves for what's to come.
Yeah, you get Douglas tomorrow and Brandon Valley on Friday. Thankfully, both are at home, so a back-to-back is tough, but at home it's a little less tough, especially not with a Friday-Saturday back-to-back. But let's first talk about Douglas. What do you see from them? They're still looking for that first win in Double-A, but it's not a team, any Double-A team is not one to take lightly.
No, you're exactly right. It's if you go in thinking you want to play with confidence, certainly, but if you go in thinking that you're just going to win a game in Double-A and it's going to be easy, you're mistaken. And we talked about that today, that we need to go in with the same attitude that it's any other opponent. Doesn't matter what their record is, doesn't matter what our record is. We want to give everybody our best game and compete hard regardless of who we're playing. They've played a lot of guys, 10, 11 guys, so they rotate. They want to try and push the tempo. They're a little bit smaller as far as across the board. They've got a couple bigger guys in there, but I think that we've got, as far as averages across the board, we are bigger than them, certainly, but they'll look to do a lot of different things in their motion, penetrate, nothing that we haven't seen as of late. So that'll be good for us to get back and be forced to defend some stuff like that.
And you've done it a couple of times already with a Friday-Saturday game, but to be in Thursday-Friday, Brandon Valley is on Friday, and how much do you game plan, or do you talk about the game plan with the rest of the kids, or do you kind of wait until after the game Thursday to say, okay, this is how we're going to play Brandon Valley on Friday?
That is you kind of have to take that stance. Throughout the week, we have certainly implemented things without necessarily talking that this is the reason we're drilling this. But again, it really, there's no magical schemes that we're trying to put in by any means. Each opponent, we want to play our best game and really put the focus on us and get back to playing our type of basketball. And that's playing team basketball. That's not just taking the first shot that's given to us, but looking to get the best shot that's given to us. And what given, when I say that, we're certainly creating things, but taking what is given to us from their defensive standpoint is something that's important and that we've really worked on. It reading defenses, being able to execute regardless of their action, or we've got to react to what they're doing and then counter as well. And so we've really continued to progress in that regard, in that development. So that's been something that we've been eager to see as far as across the board, all of that development and all of our guards, posts starting to work together, be able to put the whole puzzle together, basically.
Again, talking with Coach Brandon Kusler here is we'll go back a little bit to last Thursday. It feels like a really long time ago when you guys played Mitchell, but there's a lot of positives to take away from that game, and a couple of them that kind of stick out is Jet Zabel defensively against Caden Hinker. And, Hinker had a great game, and you kind of knew that he was going to score a lot of points. But Zabel did a good job defensively, made things very difficult for him. And, of course, as the littlest brother of all the Zabels, he wasn't going to be afraid of anybody. But Matthew Hansen also played really well. Those two guys really kind of stuck out and kind of still stick out from that game against Mitchell.
You're right. You could tell when he was matched up against him, it was a challenge, and he wasn't backing down. And he created a lot of really positive things from created a lot of positive things from his defense, Matthew as well. And that's something that we talk about a lot, is using our defense to play into our offense. And there were a couple different times that that really was the case. And Jet hit a couple baseline jumpers and was shooting with confidence, which we've been trying to get him to do because he's capable, but that's his confidence that stemmed from his intensity defensively, it shined that night. And then Matthew Hansen did a lot of really positive things. And, outside of the box score and outside of the points he put up and all of those, the rebounds, there were a lot of rebounds that he didn't get necessarily, but the pressure that he put on because he was rebounding with the intention that he was going to get every single ball and force the defense to acknowledge him every single time coming down. That's pressure that's just effort, plain and simple. And that's something that you want from your senior. And alongside that, what people don't get to hear is the things that we get to when we're close to them. And he's really taking a role of a leader, and that's something that I don't want to say it's not natural for him, but it's taken more because there were always the people up above him. We had 4 seniors last year, so he didn't have to necessarily step into that leadership role. And sometimes he's learning that means that you don't get to be just the back patter all the time. Sometimes that's holding people accountable and telling them what they need to hear, not necessarily what they want to hear, which is easier said than done. And it's certainly a growing area for a lot of our guys. But everybody's starting to recognize that we all just want what's best for each other. The kids all want what's best for each other. We as coaches want what's best for these kids. And so when we get after them, it's out of love. It's not anything else. It's because we know the potential of this group. And so we've seen a lot of really good progress made in the last week or so in those regards.
And you mentioned at the beginning of that playing defense with confidence and lean to everything else. So a lot of times, when I ask you what's it going to take to win, establishing your identity defensively. Well, I don't think there's there's truth behind it. You're not just saying it just to say it. There's a reason why you say it, and it's kind of in that answer kind of led you and kind of proved to why you say that all the time.
Yeah, that's if our defense isn't rocking, our offense isn't rocking. You can't have one without the other. I mean, you could go, I guess, really good defense and not be able to score very much. But I usually, you see some really positive things offensively, but we don't want to just try and outscore teams. We want to force them to take the shots they don't want to and limit their possessions and their good shots, and then get a lot more of the shots that we want, not just the shots that they're giving us necessarily early in the shot clock. We want to make sure that we're looking to push late into. Now we're not talking 3-2-1 by any means, but limiting the possessions that they have. Looking back at the Mitchell game, we took 17 more shots than them. And that statistic really stood out to me because you take 17 more shots, shouldn't lose by 15 necessarily. But that tells me that we weren't taking the best shots we could. We took a lot of early shots, which there were a couple times I felt like we maybe got bumped a little bit and could have been going to the line with it. But regardless, you've got to adjust. And so out of that, now that's something that we've really repped is getting ball reversals, looking at what that next best option is. Am I the best option? And a lot of that is just developmental, and it comes along with more and more reps.
Again, Douglas and Brandon Valley here on Thursday and Friday at Riggs High School. We'll have the Thursday game, tomorrow's game here for you on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We'll have the girls' game on Friday as they'll be out in Brandon Valley. We talked about what Douglas brings, and I know that you're not ready to get to Brandon Valley till Friday, but I'll ask you, what do you expect from Brandon Valley on Friday at home?
Athletes, a lot of athletes. Craig Nelson, who had come over from Washington last year, over to Brandon Valley. They're still coming into their group right now, and so I think we'll be ready for a group that's eager to get going, just as we are again. And so there's going to be a lot of athletes, and being able to look to challenge you with off the bounce and just playing good disciplined basketball, really with Craig. And he's a northern guy, so he played for Coach Meyer, and so he has played for one of the greatest coaches ever, and he's a phenomenal coach as well. So be ready for a disciplined team that's going to come in and work their butts off for every single possession. So we've got to be ready to do the same.
And this will be the halfway point after Friday. It'll be your 10th game, whether you're 6-4, 4-6, or 5-5. Obviously, 6-4 is where you want to be at. But at the halfway point, when you get done with Friday's game, what's kind of that? What is something that you want to say, like, okay, we're taking the right steps. This is what we want to, how we want to play these last 2 games. This is the steps that we want to take going into the second half of the season.
I really think, we're rebounding the ball really well right now, and so continuing to do that, because that's going to be very important. It's the other thing is sharing that basketball, and success, it can be measured in a lot of ways, and for many it's in wins and losses, and that's not necessarily the case, right? I mean, certainly we would love to win every single game, but there are victories found in even our last 4 losses, and but we want to just make sure that we aren't continuing those. The areas that we've drilled, and now we need to translate those into game settings and continue to hold each other accountable with those type of things. So I think if we can do those things, we can sit after the 10th game and feel confident moving forward.
And again, talking with Coach Brandon Kusler. So now my last question is, how do you get the job done on Thursday and Friday to win those 2 games and be at 6-4?
Disciplined basketball, getting back to having a lot of fun with one another, playing for one another, and just rebounding the heck out of the ball, looking to push the tempo, and continuing to progress with where we're at.
Coach Brandon Kusler of the Pierre Governor boys basketball team. They take on Douglas tomorrow at home, and then Brandon Valley at home on Friday. We'll have the game tomorrow night here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Coach, I appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you in the pregame show, but good luck to the next 2 nights.
Thank you.
That is head coach Brandon Kusler. We will return and talk with head coach Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes next. You're listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Dale and DT here for the LB.
You know, Dale, the Long Branch offers variety, live music, and drink specials to help you unwind.
True, but you have got to try one of the most diverse menus available.
Got to get in a shout out for their wings. Some of the best in town. Tuesdays, they have wing specials and a killer selection of flavors.
And now, the LB is home of KCCR's Coach's Corner. Wednesday nights up on the big stage.
Come for the food, stay for the fun. The LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street in downtown Pierre.
It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner. They will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
At Avera Health Plans, health insurance is more than just coverage. It's about making connections. We connect you with quality health care so you're covered when you need it. To health coaches and nurses who help meet your health goals. And to a quality network of providers, specialists, and 24/7 virtual care. Our focus is on your everyday well-being. Wherever you are along the journey, choose our health plan with connections. Connect with your agent or visit averahealthplans.com.
For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre still wants your trade or your spare vehicle, and we're willing to give you top dollar, and we'll throw in an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Sell us your car, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Trade in your vehicle for a new or different one, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit gatewayfordtoyota.com.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 12, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here to Long Branch, as we are joined here with Coach Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes, and we'll get to the elephant in the room here in just a moment. But first, we gotta talk about this past weekend for you. I guess I'm also just trying to lead into the elephant in the room for the Stanley County Buffaloes last weekend. You played Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, Monday night, and you came away 3-1. You got to be pretty happy with how you end up with that weekend ending on Monday.
Yeah, definitely. That was definitely a goal of ours. We wanted to be 4-0 throughout the weekend, but we knew during that 4-game stretch if we can get to 3-1, we'd be pretty happy with that, considering all the time off we had leading up to it. And, before that tournament, we hadn't played a game in about a week and a half, and then all of a sudden, we've got 4 games in 5 nights. And like I said last week, we would be – holy buckets, we'd have a lot of basketball to be able to talk about, for sure.
And I want to talk about that Monday game specifically right now, because that was a game, and we kind of talked about it, and I failed to ask that question when I interviewed you after the game, but we talked about it off the record or off the interview. But McLaughlin was showing signs of fatigue, and they didn't play. They weren't playing a back-to-back at any point because they didn't play on Sunday. You guys were playing your 4th game in 5 days. Every analytics, every stat, every nerd should be saying, well, there's no way Stanley County in a 2-point game going in the 4th quarter should be able to win, because McLaughlin has shown that they can score. Elias Sims was fantastic for them. They had 21 points. There's no way that he's going to be held off the scoreboard because Stanley County is playing 4 games in 5 days, and there's no way that those guys aren't going to – Stanley County should be worn out. And you guys – we're worn out. Not going to lie about that. You guys, there's no question you were worn out, but you were still able. They were more fatigued than you were, and that's also, as a coach, got to make you pretty proud. Yeah,
it was so fun for our guys. It was one of those things, we talked about it before the game, that it was just going to be a grind. Every possession mattered. They did a tremendous job of buying in on the defensive front. We did a nice job in that first quarter. It was a tie game, 13-13, and then we take a 6-point lead into halftime. We held them to 20 points and a half, and we felt good about that. And no, we weren't shooting the ball particularly well, but that's kind of the first thing that goes when you get that tired, is your jump shot just doesn't have the same pop that it does in the beginning of the game or at the beginning of the weekend. And, they made a run in the 3rd quarter, and we still had a lead going into the 4th quarter. But that 4th quarter really, showed a lot of guts and showed a lot of pride out of our team. And I was so happy for them that they played that well. To be able to lock them down defensively, and then to have our highest points scored in that quarter. We outscored them. I think it was 18-6 going away in that quarter, and really played good basketball and kind of kept them off the board. And then the most important part is, Lathan Prince hit 6 for 6 free throws in that 4th quarter. So as we were stretching that lead from a 5-point lead to a 7 to a 9, and then they started to foul in the last 2.5, 3 minutes of the game, we were able to send Lathan to the free throw line, and he confidently sunk every free throw he got a chance to shoot. So, that's tough to do at the end of a weekend stretch like we had too. So the way they bought in defensively, it was really impressive. And then the way they closed out the game, I don't think we're exactly built to blow anybody out as far as some of the teams go, and we just don't have the depth to be able to get up and press how we used to. But if, you outscore everybody by 4 points a quarter, by the end of the game, you're ending with a nice, comfortable margin of victory, and we were able to do that for the past couple games this weekend, so that always makes a coach happy.
Yeah, now 7-2 on the season for the Stanley County Buffaloes. You have a well-deserved Tuesday through Friday off of games, and you said you put the feet up and watch some film on Tuesday to give those guys a little bit extra rest and get off their feet for a little bit. But now you get Harriet Selby area on Saturday. For you as a coach and as a Niners fan, that makes you also a little stressed out in more ways than one. But Harriet's a good team. That Harriet Selby area team is a good team. And for you guys going in, it's a home game. You get a chance to stay at home throughout the entire week. That's going to play in your favor as well.
Yeah, our kids are excited. We kind of looked around the locker room and we said, I think this is our second game at home this season was against McLaughlin. So It seems like we've been on the road for a minute, and it was good for us to get back in front of a big home crowd. It was fun to see everybody there to come out and support the Buffs, and I felt like, we filled up that lower bowl pretty well, and there was even some people up above, and like I told the kids, nobody's there in the summertime when we're getting those shots up, but all of a sudden, you know, we're putting a good quality basketball team on the floor, and that place is starting to fill up, so it makes it even more fun for our guys. But to talk Harriet Selby a little bit, you know, Coach Heddick there, he's their head guy, and he does a great job. Obviously, they had a ton of success on the football field this season, and you look at them in their jerseys, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's why. You know, they're big, strong, athletic kids, and, you know, they're a really physical basketball team. Coach's kid does a great job for them. He's a point guard for them. He does a nice job as well. So they present some challenges for us, especially size-wise. But, you know, I like to think that hopefully our defense will be able to match some of that size and be able to match them up pretty well. And hopefully we do a good job of executing on the offensive end like we did on Monday night, and we should be in a good spot on Saturday.
You know, and after such a long weekend, and you took the day for film, what was today like? What's tomorrow and Friday kind of like to, you know, make sure you don't take too much time off, but also make sure that you give the guys enough of a little bit of a rest to be recovered by Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. That's important. You know, it all comes with balance, and it's nice to have, you know, some upperclassmen guys to be able to lean on for some of that, you know, and to be able to shoot us straight with, you know, when we ask how you feeling, are your legs tired, are you tired, like, do you need a little break here? We're going to work on this. You know, we do a nice job of taking some input from our guys, and our guys are honest. You know, they tell us the truth, and they always want to work hard. So I feel like there's sometimes we as coaches kind of got to keep them from hurting themselves in that aspect. So, you know, it's all about balance, and today was a nice day for us. You know, we got out and we got up and down a little bit. We worked some offensive stuff, worked some defensive stuff, and did a ton of shooting. So it's one of those things that, you know, trying to get that form back, that mid-season form, and trying to get that game speed and get those game speed type of shots so that we feel a little bit more confident when we're out there on the court.
Talking with Coach Max Foth of the St. County Buffaloes, who will take on Harriet Selby area on Saturday. That's a girls and boys doubleheader at the Parkview and here in Fort Pierce. So a chance on a Saturday to go out and watch the Buffs play. That should be two really good games for both the boys and girls. It's hard to believe. You know, you mentioned it, just your second home game, and you're almost halfway through the season now. Which also is good. That means there's a lot of home games left on the schedule. But you guys have kind of been those road warriors up to this point, and having to try and do all this on the road.
Yeah, you know, it's nice that when we're looking at it, all of a sudden, you know, we've got Harriet Selby at home, and then we've got Sully Buttes at home, and that's what's kind of funny about our schedule is they did a nice job of we get a little break here, but then, like you said, we play on Saturday, then we turn around and we go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday next week. So it's, you know, it'll be funny, you know, like I told the guys, like, you know, remember that time we got to practice. So it'll feel goofy because it'll be, you know, we'll have one day to get ready for the next team, and then we'll play that next team, and that's going to be our week next week. But hopefully this Jones County tournament and playing on Monday kind of prepped us for that and kind of got our minds ready for, you know, the grind that's going to be. And these are very important games against some very good teams coming up. So this could really set us to have an even better part of our season than we're having right now.
We're talking again with Coach Max Foth of the St. County Buffaloes, and all right, now we'll address the elephant in the room. And I was the one dumb enough last week to make the gentleman's bet of the Cowboys and 49ers. It's our favorite teams going at it, so I decided let's make a bet, and the loser has to wear the other team's gear. And I felt good. I didn't feel super good, but I felt good that you'd be having to wear some Cowboy stuff. But that was all for naught. And if I wouldn't have opened my big mouth, this wouldn't have happened. And now I have a nice Patrick Willis jersey to wear tomorrow at work, and I'll go to the Pierre Governor game wearing the Patrick Willis jersey and wear it with pride and humility at the same time. And but.
This is what's funny is you're not even the first person to have to wear it this season. You know, I had a good friend of mine who was a Vikings fan. We made a similar bet, and you know, we went out and we had some food, and he had to wear the jersey and buy me supper for the night while we were both out rocking Niners gear. So this is good. You know, I've won 2 of these bets now. That's pretty exciting. I tell you what, I was real nervous at the end of the game there. You know, I thought we had it on that. Tossed to Debo for that 1st and 10, but we missed it by about an inch, and then had to go punt it away, and Dak led the boys right down the field. They had me real nervous that I was going to have to squeeze into that XL polo for a whole day, and oh man, that would have been a tight look. And lucky enough, the Niners pull it out. So I'm old enough now to where, I love Patrick Willis. I miss him as a Niners linebacker. So some kids might have to Google who in the heck you're wearing for your jersey tomorrow, but that's all right. Maybe we'll get some more Niners fans in the process.
Anything to help you out. Anything to help you out. But, yeah, I'll wear that jersey. I'll unfortunately have to wear the jersey, but I guess I become a Niners fan on Saturday when they inevitably play the Green Bay Packers, and we'll see if the Packers choke again, as they have for the last 10 years now, and they've struggled to get out of the NFC. But I say that because Spencer Kelly, our board op right now back at the station, he's already he's already sent me a text. He's not very happy with me right now. So I'm just glad. As long as the commercial's still played, we get through the rest of the show. It's okay.
You'll be good to go.
Yeah.
And by the way, as a representative of all of the 49ers fans in South Dakota, Vikings fans, you can come on over to the bandwagon for the weekend. We'll take all the good vibes you can get because we might need them heading up to Green Bay.
Coach Max Foth, who's going to be a very nervous man, and I don't know if you're going to be more nervous. Are you nervous when you're coaching?
No, because I feel like I have some semblance of a control of the environment, and I feel how prepared we are. It's weird. I feel like I transform back into that kid-like joy that you have watching, and it's fun to be just a fan and yell things at your TV that you don't mean, and to really cheer on, and who knows if you have an impact on the game or not. I'm not smart enough to know if we do or not, but I will be wearing the same socks that I was during the Niners-Cowboys game because, as I've said before, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious,
right.
So just in case.
In that phrase, it's only weird if it doesn't work.
That's right.
If it works, and it can't be weird.
Yeah.
So, and of course you can listen to all 4 of the NFL games this weekend on KCCR starting on Saturday afternoon and going into Saturday evening. Of course, that's the 49ers-Packers game on Saturday night. Before I do let you go, we got to get back to the basketball here. You're going to be nervous only because the 49ers and Packers are playing. You're not going to be nervous because the Stanley County Buffaloes are playing Harriet-Selby area. But how do you get a win against that team?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is we've got to be able to match their physicality. You'll be able to see it when you're at the game. These kids, you could tell why they were in the dome for their football team. They're big, physical, strong kids, and they're going to try to make the game a little bit tougher, a little bit rougher, and we've got to be able to match that intensity and match some of that strength with hopefully some of our skill stuff. And we've done a terrific job of playing defense this season, and hopefully we continue with that and hold those guys down and be able to do a little bit more offensively than we've done in the past.
Coach Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes. Coach, I appreciate the time as always. Well, maybe not so much this time as usual, but I do appreciate the time. Good luck on Saturday. I do mean it in every way now. Good luck for your team, the Stanley County Buffaloes, and good luck to the 49ers as well. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, John.
As head coach Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes, we will return and talk with Coach Sean Lewis of the Pierre Wrestling team. You're listening to Coach's Corner here on KCCR.
DT and Dale here for the Long Branch in downtown Pierre. The LB is a great place to kick back, relax, and unwind.
It has been for years, and it has a fantastic menu for lunch or dinner. Love that variety.
Yeah, good point. But we would be remiss if we didn't tell you about the best wings in town.
Tuesdays at the LB, try the delicious wings. And the more you buy, the more you save. The LB, the Long Branch in downtown Pierre. Now the home of KCCR's Coach's Corner. Wednesday evenings.
Looking for your next new or used car, truck, or SUV? Then go no further than the comfort of your own home. Shop online at lambmotor.com. On lambmotor.com, you'll find the vehicles Lambs has in stock. You can schedule a test drive or your vehicle's next tune-up, all online. New or used, shop for it all online, anywhere you are. Lamb Motor has the right vehicle for you. Lamb Motor in Oneida and online. lambmotor.com.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR, as we are joined here with Coach Sean Lewis of the Pierre Governor Wrestling team, who had a big win against the Brookings Bobcats last night. As things don't get any easier. They take on Brandon Valley tomorrow on the road in a big ESD duel, and one of the biggest ESD duels of the season between Pierre and Brandon Valley. Before we get into Brandon Valley, because that's going to be a nice conversation in itself, but let's go back to last night, Coach, and let's talk about this Brookings Bobcats team. You guys were able to handle them 51-20. Talk about the success that your team was able to have last night.
I thought we definitely started off the week well. You think you come off last week where, you were expecting to wrestle on Friday night and then don't get to wrestle on Friday night. So then you get to wrestle on Saturday and you're in a tiny tournament with only 10 teams as far as, what we've been used to. And we performed really, really well, even though we were minus a couple guys. And, then you got to turn around and have a no school day on Monday. And so you practice and you're really not in a routine per se. And, you got to then get on the road and get on a bus and go to Brookings. And they had been 4-1 in duels, and we kind of knew, what they had in spots. And I thought ultimately, we performed really well. It tends to be the time in the season each and every single year, kind of in our training regimen where, we really start to ascend, to that peak. And I think yesterday was just a really good first step in that descent.
Yeah, and now here Brandon Valley on Thursday for you, and it's going to be kind of tough. There's guys have been doing this for a while, whether they were fresh into the lineup or have been in the lineup the entire season and been in the lineup for the last couple of years. But the saying of just go out and wrestle, I think, is that a true statement that you just go out and wrestle, or is it you kind of like to be in a little bit more of a routine? You can go out and play basketball, you can go out and pick up a football and maybe, run a couple routes and stuff like that. But is wrestling a little bit more than just picking it up and just going with it?
I would definitely say, I can really only speak to teams that I've had and myself competing. And, we've always had, pretty loose teams here in Pierre where they kind of just, are able to get in the flow. But, I don't know. When I was a competitor, I was in a routine. I was always, had to be this, and my preparation had to be this, and my warm-up had to be this, and my pre-match meal had to be this. And so anytime that got screwed up, I saw little hiccups in the road and things like that. And so we try to keep things as on procedure for the kids as much so they kind of know what to expect, and that's even out of practice. So, they know where they need to be with weight and what they need to get off. And we do keep things pretty routine and regimented. And, and then also in different parts of the year after year, we change the sequence up. We focus maybe on some minor, little details, but, I think definitely we like to be very regimented in what it is that we're doing, because I believe that we've ultimately got a good system and it works, and I think the success, kind of speaks for itself in that.
Absolutely. And talking with Coach Sean Lewis of the Pierre Wrestling team, as both the boys and girls wrestled last night in Brookings. They'll wrestle again tomorrow night in Brandon against Brandon Valley. And, as we look at the boys' side specifically here today, you mentioned back at right around the beginning of the season, it might even been before the season began, that you mentioned Brandon Valley is one of the best teams in the country, not just in the state, but one of the best teams in the country. Now that we've gotten into this middle part of the season and we're getting closer to maybe a month away from the state tournament, does that ring true? Are you even more impressed with what Brandon Valley brings? Or are you saying, well, this team's a little bit more maybe beatable as a group in a duel than I first thought?
On paper, they're definitely one of the best teams in the country, but they've also not been absent of what every other team has gone through with illness, with sickness, with injuries as well. They've been missing some guys in our lineup here and there, just the same as we have, and Rapid City Stevens has, and Watertown has, and so they're also kind of battling a lot of those same things. I mean, if they plug everybody in their lineup that they have available and are completely healthy on a given night, they are absolutely one of the best teams, not just in the state, like you said, in the region, and in the country. And but if they're missing those guys, they're human, just like any other team. And so ultimately we got to go down there and, get ourselves to as close to full strength as we can, see where they're at. I mean, you really don't know until you get into it. You can pencil it out on paper all you want, but you kind of got to put the two cats in the bag and see how it shakes out and which one walks out.
And we'll get to Brandon Valley again here. We'll dive in a little bit deeper with them. But for you guys, you talked about getting healthy. How are things progressing to get everybody healthy? How's that looking right now, especially with a day in between Brookings and Brandon Valley?
I think a lot's going to happen in our day. We've been working through, some concussion protocol and some other things with kids and getting some kids back, from illness. And the crazy part is, with the way that this, even school year has been and this winter has been, influenza A and strep have went through. And, that's on top of the COVID stuff that's, still lingering here and there. And so, things can change, and they can change really quickly, and you got to make adjustments. It seems like illness. I mean, we've already kind of had 2 little batches go through. We kind of had one go through our room right before Christmas, and we're kind of on the tail end of another. And hopefully we don't hit a third sequence inside of these months as well. So, I think physically we're getting kids back. We've also lost some kids throughout the season that we're not going to get back, but that's just the way that the season is, and we got to have the next man up, and or we got to get the first man back up, in some situations. And so we deal with whatever we need to, and ultimately the depth of our kids in our room and the development of our JV, we know darn well that it's not just 14 guys at the beginning of the year. It ultimately takes about 28 by the time you're all said and done. So it's definitely a work in progress every single week for our coaching staff.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing too, is that when you look at the results from last night, there are names that you haven't seen in the varsity lineup in a duel until last night. Whether it was a forfeit win or not, whether it was they got a pin or maybe unfortunately maybe they lost, but either way, you're still seeing different names pop up that you haven't seen from last year and early on of this year. Maybe other than a tournament where everybody gets a chance to compete, you're seeing different guys fall on the line. And you guys have, the pins are a huge deal when it comes to bonus points, one for a duel, but also for the team state championship when you get to the state tournament. You guys seem to be pinning a lot more guys this year than it feels like maybe from last year. Maybe I'm just looking into it a little bit more. Maybe you're saying it's about the same amount, but it feels like you guys get a couple more pins in here in each time you get a duel.
Year in and year out, you kind of have teams that are pinners and teams that aren't, but, predominantly throughout the years, Pierre's been a pinning team. And so, we really don't actually spend as much time as people would think. You just ultimately got to be willing to listen to your corner and make the adjustments, in positioning that is being hollered at you and recognize it. And then, have that driving force of, I want to put this kid away. We talk about all the time, if a kid doesn't deserve to be on the mat with you for 6 minutes, don't be on the mat with him for 6 minutes. Don't let him, because every second that he's there on the mat with you longer, is another second that he has a chance or even thinks that he has a chance. And so you want to be able to shut that door on a guy as soon as possible. And like you said, scoring bonus points on top of it for your team, it's just icing on the cake.
You can talk with Coach Sean Lewis here, the Pierre Governors, as they take on Brandon Valley tomorrow. Both boys and girls will wrestle in Brandon tomorrow, 6 o'clock start. How important is this duel? Do you talk it up a little bit more to this team about the importance of, if you want an ESD championship, you have to go out and beat everybody, but it includes Brandon Valley. Do you talk it up a little bit more? Do you kind of treat it like almost like a state championship type or a state tournament type duel, even though we're in January?
I don't think that, honestly, I need to talk this duel up any more than, just with the two teams that ultimately you're going to see across from each other. They know what we have to offer. We know what they have to offer. Our kids know it. It's no secret. It's not like, I need to go in the room and give everybody goosebumps and everything. Our kids know what's at stake. That's what I will give this team. They're a very intelligent team. And, ultimately, like you said, we lost to them 2 different times and then ended up beating them at state. I'm not saying that same scenario is going to hold true, but we want to go out there and compete. We want to exactly see where we're at. We've not seen Brandon in any way, shape, or form at any tournament. So, we need to get on the mat with them. We need to see, where we are, and we need to get toe-to-toe and, see what adjustments that we need to make in matches. So, come state dual tournament time that, we get a chance to see these guys, or if we see them again individually, that, we're the ones making the progress and making the adjustments. So first time out, it's going to be fun. I can guarantee you that Brandon's going to pack their gym, as they should. They've, got a really good school climate, good school spirit going on. And the wrestling team's obviously had a lot of success along with their other sports programs. And so, it's deserved. And it's going to be a fun night tomorrow night.
It absolutely is. And speaking of being fun, and I know that your focus right now is on Brandon Valley, but Saturday, a lot of fun. East-West duels are in Pierre. That is one of the best weekends. It's not just, it's not a tournament. It's getting a bunch of duels in and being able to see how you can. It's almost a tournament atmosphere because you're going to be wrestling. All these guys will be wrestling multiple matches, but it's going to be that duel, a bunch of duels, and it's always fun. It's a fantastic chance to see competition from out around the state, not just the ones that will come to Pierre for one duel or a triangular. There's a lot of teams that will be here on Saturday at Ricks High School, and that's always a fun weekend.
Yeah, there's probably not any one weekend or weekday anywhere that ultimately molds and shapes the gauntlet of the state dual tournament like this weekend is. When you have us and Brandon Valley and Harrisburg, from your east, and we're missing a team from the east, but that'll be filled in again next year. And then you're going out against Rapid City Stevens, Rapid City Central, Sturgis, and Spearfish. There's not an easy duel in there. There's not one that you can go, yep, got this one, put a check mark next to it, put it in the win column. You're going to have to go out and earn those. And ultimately, like I said, your seeding for the state dual tournament is really going to depend for a whole lot on how you do this weekend. So, us teams from the East want to have a good showing at the teams from the West, and the teams from the West, they've left here the last couple of years with a sour taste in their mouth. But I tell you what, you're getting to see, like I said, us and Brandon Valley and Harrisburg, and I'd put us in a duel against anybody. But, Rapid City Stevens and Sturgis are also right there in the mix.
And like you said, there's so many teams. It's even when Pierre's not wrestling, you still get to see some great competition across the state. And obviously, anytime that Pierre is wrestling, it's great competition across the state. But you get to see those other teams compete that you don't get to see it very often, especially with how the winter sports are, when people are going everywhere for basketball, for gymnastics, for hockey, for everything else, that you get a chance to have all these teams kind of compete right there, right here in your backyard at Ricks High School. There is, and also emulating what the state tournament is like. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, and just not. You might see us all, line up in an individual tournament, but to see us all stack up in a dual tournament where it's team against team, that only adds to the atmosphere.
So again, talking with Coach Sean Lewis as we start to wrap things up here. So for you going into tomorrow, we'll ask about tomorrow first. What's it going to take to knock off Brandon Valley, pick up a huge ESD win tomorrow night?
I think we're going to have to win, some of your 50-50 matches here. We're going to have to be able to get this to 7-7 on the matchups, or even 8-6 in the matchups, and then ultimately it's going to come down to bonus points. Can we go get them, and can we not give them up? And on top of whichever team is most healthy. So when you think about that, there's a lot of things. Those are three huge things that you can't necessarily pencil out on paper, but you've got to take into account.
And then after tomorrow night with the East-West duels on Saturday, what's it going to take to have a successful weekend, whether it's go undefeated or, I don't want to say you have to go undefeated from tomorrow through the weekend. That would be fantastic. But what's it going to take to have a successful weekend from Thursday through Saturday?
Kind of the same things. We're going to have to get those 50-50 matches. We're going to have to get some of those matches back. And then, from that point forward, it's all about bonus points. Can you go get them? Can you not give them up? You're going to really need to find that consistency, and then ultimately, try and ride your own wave a little bit, because, you may lose a match. You may have a tough duel. You may have a tough weekend, but, for everybody on the weekend, your job may not be to go 5-0. It's to do your job. You may be 0-5, just based on the guys that you may be wrestling, but, in those matches and not give up pins, not give up techs, and not give up major decisions. And if at the end of the day that's what you did your job for the team.
Coach Sean Lewis of the Pierre Governor Wrestling Team. Again, both the boys and girls will wrestle tomorrow in Brandon Valley. Then the East-West duels will be taking place here at Ricks High School Saturday, all day Saturday. A chance to catch the Pierre Governors in action at Ricks. As the season continues to wind down, it's hard to believe that we're almost we're that close now, getting to the state tournament. Coach, it's always fun talking wrestling with you. It's always a blast. We're going to have you on one more time, as well, multiple times, but we're going to have you on before we get to the Super Bowl because you got to defend your crown for like the third straight year. So we're going to have you on here the next couple weeks. Make sure that, especially between the AFC NFC Championship week and the Super Bowl week, that way you can defend your crown another time and pick up a third straight Coach's Corner Super Bowl championship.
Oh, that'd be great. You know, I'd say I'd love to prepare, but you know me, I'm the non-football watcher. So, you know, I love my college, and I've been getting lucky the last couple of years picking scores and everything. So it's actually pretty easy when you just don't bet against Tom Brady most of the time.
That is true. Man. Hey, it was a lot of fun talking to you. Appreciate the time. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck this weekend, and looking forward to watching your team compete.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Back with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
For an excellent choice to meet, greet, or eat, be sure to head to Downtown Pier and the Long Branch. The Long Branch has plenty of room for the big groups, cozy spots for that intimate setting, and you're going to love the selections and variety on their menu. Plus, their specials are sure to please. There's a fantastic variety of libations available, and it's a great place to unwind. Now, home of KCCR Coach's Corner Wednesday nights, come on down to the LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street, Downtown Pier.
This is Coach's Corner on AM 1240. Today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here to Coach's Corner, live at the Long Branch as we wrap things up. Again, appreciate the coaches coming on tonight. Coach Steve Steele of the Hawaii Capitals, as well as Brandon Kusler of the Pier Boys basketball team, Max Foth of the St. County Boys basketball team, and Sean Lewis of the Pier Boys wrestling team. We'll have another Coach's Corner again next week, Wednesday, same time, same place, 5:30 to 6:30 here at the Long Branch. We appreciate the Long Branch for hosting us another Wednesday. We'll be back here next Wednesday, coming up in just under 10 minutes now. We will have Marquette and Villanova. Coverage will start at 6:45 here on a KCCR. Thanks to Spencer Kelly, back at the station. John Winkler signing off, and have a good rest of your Wednesday as we say so long for the Long Branch here for Coach's Corner.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch has been brought to you by Kruger Contracting, Avera St. Mary's, Bank West, Birding Electric, Gales Gas, Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Oahe Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner on KCCR is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. Join us every Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 6:30 for Coach's Corner, live at the Long Branch in Pier or on air at KCCR or kccrradio.com. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South